What's happening, fight fans? Get ready for a rapid-fire rundown of the biggest stories hitting the combat sports world. Oleksandr Usyk is considering a monumental clash with UFC's own Jon Jones, a move that could redefine crossover appeal in combat sports. We're diving deep into what this potential superfight could mean. And that's not all. UFC veteran Dustin Poirier is opening up about his desire to step into the boxing ring, revealing he pitched a massive fight against Nate Diaz, but Zuffa Boxing said no. We've got the inside scoop on why Poirier's boxing debut might be on hold. Meanwhile, tensions are high as a top-rank executive is firing back at Dana White, calling his approach to boxing hypocritical and suggesting he's sparking a fighter mutiny. We're breaking down the war of words and what it means for the future of fighter relations. And finally, get ready for Netflix's big MMA push. A highly touted prospect, who once rejected the UFC, is now being targeted for the star-studded Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano event. You don't want to miss this. Stick around and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.
Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Undisputed heavyweight boxing champ Oleksandr Usyk open to fighting UFC's Jon Jones, snubs Jake Paul. This is huge. Undisputed world heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk, a man with a perfect 24-0 record and wins over legends like Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, is reportedly open to crossing over into MMA for a potential superfight. But who is he looking at? Not Jake Paul's MVP promotion, but UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones. Usyk's team sees a massive payday and a monumental clash of titans in a potential baddest man on the planet showdown in the United States. While Jones had seemingly retired, recent whispers suggest he's in negotiations for a return, making this crossover bout a tantalizing possibility. This comes as Usyk prepares for a less conventional fight against Rico Verhoeven, and as stars like Fury and Joshua have already tested the waters against MMA legends like Francis Ngannou. The combat sports world is buzzing with this potential mega fight. Fans are already debating who would win between the undefeated boxer and the dominant MMA champion. Analysts are weighing in on the lucrative possibilities and the challenges of such a high-profile crossover event. Could this be the biggest fight of the year? Find out what's next for these combat sports titans. And speaking of massive fights, we're hearing Dustin Poirier wanted a piece of the boxing action too. Dustin Poirier reveals he pitched boxing match against Nate Diaz, but Zuffa Boxing passed. They don't want any crossover. Dustin Poirier, fresh off his MMA retirement, still has dreams of stepping into the boxing ring. His first choice? A highly anticipated rematch with Nate Diaz, this time under boxing rules. Poirier pitched the idea to the newly formed Zuffa Boxing, hoping to capitalize on the growing trend of crossover fights. However, he revealed on the Joe Rogan Experience that his request was denied. Poirier believes Zuffa Boxing, aiming for legitimacy, is hesitant to embrace MMA versus boxing matchups, fearing it would open the floodgates and potentially dilute their serious boxing image. He expressed frustration, stating, "They must hate money, given the massive appeal such a fight would have." The history between Poirier and Diaz is rich, with a scheduled fight in 2018 famously falling through due to injury, and they've continued to exchange callouts ever since. Diaz himself has already dipped his toes into boxing, facing Jake Paul and Jorge Masvidal. Fans are disappointed that this potential barnburner won't happen, especially after seeing the success of other MMA stars in boxing. The decision by Zuffa Boxing has sparked debate about their strategy and whether they are missing out on significant commercial opportunities. Will Poirier ever get his boxing debut, or is this door closed for good? Meanwhile, a major boxing promoter is firing shots directly at Dana White. Top-rank exec believes hypocritical Dana White is inspiring UFC fighter mutiny. The genie's out of the bottle. Top-rank President Todd Duboff is calling out UFC CEO Dana White and TKO's plans for Zuffa Boxing, labeling their approach as hypocritical and a potential catalyst for fighter unrest. Duboff argues that White, who has long criticized traditional boxing promoters, is now seeking to change the rules of boxing to benefit his own venture, particularly through proposed changes to the Muhammad Ali Act. He points out the irony of the UFC, which was built on a business model designed to avoid boxing's regulations, now wanting to alter those very regulations. Duboff believes this push, coupled with Zuffa's high-profile signings like Conor Benn for massive purses while UFC fighters question their pay, is fueling unprecedented vocal criticism from UFC athletes. He describes the current fighter sentiment as a mutiny, stating, "The genie's out of the bottle." The situation is further complicated by TKO's claims that Saudi Arabia's SELA, not TKO, is funding these extravagant purses, a move Duboff finds inconsistent with White's past critiques of promoters taking no risk. This public spat has amplified discussions around fighter pay and promotional tactics in both boxing and MMA. UFC stars like Israel Adesanya and Sean O'Malley have openly questioned the value of recent Zuffa signings, and even boxing promoter Eddie Hearn has weighed in on the prestige of Zuffa's potential championships. Is this the beginning of a new era for fighter empowerment? And speaking of new ventures, Netflix is gearing up for a massive MMA event, and they're targeting a big name. Report: mega prospect who once rejected UFC offer targeted for Rousey vs. Carano-led Netflix event. Most Valuable Promotions, led by Jake Paul, is reportedly targeting two-division KSW champion Saladin Parnas for their upcoming Netflix debut event, headlined by Ronda Rousey vs. Gina Carano. Parnas, boasting an impressive 22-2 professional record and known for his explosive knockouts, previously rejected an offer from the UFC in 2024, reportedly finding it significantly lower than his KSW contract. This move signals MVP's serious intent to build a strong MMA promotion by investing in top international talent. Parnas is slated to face Kenny Cross, a fighter with wins in Bellator and Contender Series, who is also coming off a 4-fight win streak. This event, scheduled for May 16, 2026, in Los Angeles, could be a major statement for MVP and Netflix, showcasing a blend of established stars and rising international prospects. The potential signing of Parnas has generated significant buzz, with many seeing it as a direct challenge to the UFC's dominance in prospect development. MMA analysts are eager to see how Parnas fares against Cross and what this means for the future of MMA on streaming platforms. Will Parnas live up to the hype on his Netflix debut? That's all the news for today, but we've got a quick recap coming up next. What a show! We saw Oleksandr Usyk eyeing Jon Jones for a colossal crossover fight, Dustin Poirier's boxing dreams hitting a roadblock with Zuffa Boxing, and a top-rank exec slamming Dana White's tactics. Plus, a top prospect is headed to Netflix. Don't miss out on any of the action. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And follow us on all social media platforms for even more combat sports news.